G'day campers, welcome back to 1010 Adventures, and as you can probably see, we're not camping and we're not in the caravan. I've said frequently in previous videos that I'm not a very good handyman and I stand by it, but I'm not a bad fitter and turner. And what do I mean by fitting and turning? Well, I'm going to fit all this into this and turn it into something tasty. So what we've got here, I've got about 2 kilos of pork leg that I've taken the fat off and I have left overnight in the fridge after being coated in a Texan smoky barbecue rub. You can make the rub yourself, however I've opted to just get the old Master Foods barbecue rub just to make things easy. I guess the reason I'm doing this video, apart from the fact I can't go anywhere at the moment, just to give you an idea about how quick and easy it is to do a simple home cook recipe. And you can actually cook this out in the field really easily. All you need is a Dutch oven and a good fire. I would love to be doing this in our pop-up fire pit that I reviewed recently, but a little bit of a trip down to the servo and the local areas that sell firewood, and it looks like a lot of people had barbecues last night for the football because there ain't none available. So I'm going to be doing this in the oven. I've preheated the oven to 140 degrees fan forced. You don't want it any more than this. This is going to cook for about 6 hours, so it is a very low and slow cook recipe. So back to the pork leg. I've taken the skin off. Best recommendation here is keep as much fat on it as you can. You want fat, as an old term in the cooking world, fat equals flavour, and that is absolutely true. Obviously we want to put some moisture in that, and this is why I've got these ingredients over here. We're going to add all of these to the pot, give it a quick mix, and stick it all in this tray over here, which I will bring across. So we'll unwrap our pork. As I said, this has been smothered in a beautiful smoky Texan barbecue rub. We've had that in the fridge overnight. If you do want to do this when you're camping, it's recommended prep this before you go, wrap it, keep it in a nice sealed container, and you will be able to cook this nice and easily. You'll notice this is quite moist. This is a dry rub, and as you can see, it's all gone quite moist in there. We've got lots of moisture in this piece of meat, which is good. But yeah, prepare this before you go away. Do it the night before and stick it in the fridge overnight. You can do this while you're out camping, but it is really important you leave this in a fridge overnight just to let all those beautiful flavours from the rub get into the meat. Now we're just about to pop out of here, I think. Oh yeah, look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. That is smothered in flavour. I'm just going to gently lie that down in here, and I'll just get rid of those. All right, so I've now got that beautiful piece of meat sitting in our roasting tray. Now I want to make a little bit of a sauce to go with it. So the general recipe is about half a cup of each of these ingredients per kilo of meat. We've got 2 kilos of meat in here, so I'm going to go about a cup of each. So that's going to be too small. I'll be back. All right, so I've got about a 2-cup container here. I'm going to start with a good healthy squeeze of Sweet Baby Ray's, and sorry it's upside down, but brown sugar barbecue sauce. Well, lots of this. This is going to be really key to that flavour of barbecue rub. Gotta love the farty sounds as you empty a bottle, don't you? Alright, stick that in there. About the same again from some tomato sauce. And about 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. You can use any vinegar. You can use white vinegar, red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar. Being pork, I thought apple cider vinegar would just give it a nice little bit of freshness. So I'm just going to put in a good chunk of that. Now with this rub there is a fair bit of brown sugar in it, so you don't need to add any additional sugar for sweetness. Matter of fact, the only thing I think that's going to be missing from this really as we cook this is going to be that smokiness that we get from doing this on an open fire. So we'll give this a good whisk through this this little pouring jug here. Try and get right into the edges, make sure we're not leaving anything behind. And I do want to make that a little bit moister. You can use any alcohol you like, bourbon, scotch, but I prefer rum. So I'm going to a bit of the Captain Morgan spiced rum. I'm going to fill up the rest of this container with that. And that's for me later. But, that rum is definitely giving off one hell of an aroma. So we've got this stirred through and we've got a bit of a paste as I spilled all over the plate. That's the reason I'm using a plate. Alright, let's see how we go pouring this across. I just want to pour this all over the meat. That nice, rich flavours. If you've got a little bit left over, that's okay. I'm going to sacrifice some of my portion for later. Get some more rum in here. The reason I'm choosing a spiced rum, it's got a little bit of a smoky hint to it, so it does add to that smoke flavour. There's plenty of smoked paprika in this rub as well, which will also help with bringing that smokiness to it. If this is the first time you're going to cook this, I actually do recommend you try it at home first. It is a you want to know when it's right. So this is going to be basically a pulled pork. It's going to go with go really nicely with some tacos for dinner tonight. We'll go through making the coleslaw and a few other bits and pieces later. So a little bit more vinegar. But yeah, I do recommend cooking this at home first, just so you know when you get a feel for when it's ready. You do need to check this fairly often, about every hour. It is going to cook for, as I said, about 6 hours in the oven. I have cooked this previously, and I think it was there for about 6.5, nearly 7 hours. It just wasn't quite ready at that 6 hour mark. All right, so the next thing we need to do is seal this up. The best way to do that is alfoil. Now, I'll just move this over to the oven for a moment. The alfoil I've got isn't quite going to cut it, so there's a little trick for this. I'm going to take 2 pieces of foil, about the same length. Shiny side together. I'm just going to fold a little strip around the outside. I'm going to double seal that. And that will mean that when we wrap the top of this, it's going to just become one big sheet of foil. Now, it's been a big thing for a long time, which is the right way to use foil, shiny side down or matte side down. I'm going to do it shiny side down, but apparently there's actually no reason whatsoever for either. Apparently the matte side and shiny side are just a factor of the manufacturing process, I found out recently. So just move this aside for a second. Bring back our meat, which is now just beautifully just sitting in that marinade. And just pop this across the top. As one of the cats knocks the camera stand. So what we want is a fairly reasonable seal. It doesn't need to be too tight. We are going to take this off periodically and pop it back, but we do want a seal in there just to keep that moisture in the pot. Alright, so we're going to bung this in. As I said, I've preheated the oven to 140 degrees fan forced. If you don't have a fan forced oven, 150 to 160 degrees, no more than that. Alright, let's chuck it in the oven and we'll come back a little bit later on. As a matter of fact, there's something else I might show you. We can't do an episode without doing something camping or van related, so we'll be back after this has had a little bit of time in the oven and I'll show you something new. Okay, so while that pork is slow cooking in the oven, I thought I'd come back out to the van. Got to try and at least spend some time in here. We had MDC come out about a week ago and came and fitted our new black fans, which we are very, very happy with. You can see both of those, the Sirocco 2s. Very, very nice fans. Very, very happy with those. However, when we opened the van to let Tony in to have a look, we noticed something a little concerning. So I'm just going to give you a quick look at our lovely black cupboards and let me know if you can see what is wrong. If I hold my hand up here, you can see all of that is just starting to come unstuck. Now, not the greatest thing in the world, but, and before people start going, oh yeah, you know, cheap Chinese, what do you expect? I thought I'd let you know what the warranty experience has been like, because one of the reasons we chose MDC was because when we spoke to a lot of the other manufacturers, we looked at pretty much everyone that's making these vans, these style of vans in Victoria. And when we asked most of them about the warranty process, most of them said, oh yeah, if you have a problem, you won't have a problem, but if you do, if your hot water goes, you got to talk to Truma or whoever it happens to be. MDC, when we asked them, said, no, if something goes wrong, we'll fix it. You just fill in the warranty report, we'll get everything sorted. We deal with all the manufacturers, so it doesn't matter if it's your hot water, if it's your air conditioner, it doesn't matter, we'll sort it. So that gave us a lot of confidence in the brand initially. Oh, it's definitely turning into a camping trip at home. You've just had a fly blowing. So that gave us a little bit of confidence in the brand. I have to now say that confidence has been seriously reinforced. When Tony, who's the workshop manager at MDC in Campbellfield, came out to do our fans, we hadn't actually seen any of the tearing that we've seen below on the drawer, but we had noticed there was a bit of a bubble behind one of the cupboard doors, so we weren't too worried about it. It's just one of those things. We weren't super worried about it. We thought we'll see if it gets any worse, and we'll deal with it later on. Tony had one look and said, yeah, that's not right. We know that there was a batch that came in that had some glue issues, so don't worry about it. I'll get Mark onto it. While Tony was still in the van fitting the fans, Mark was on the phone to me saying, I understand you got some problems. I've seen the photos. Leave it with me. I'll get it sorted. Now, ordinarily, you'd have to fill in a warranty form and do all that work yourself. Mark's done it all for me. He's looked after us fantastically. And the new cupboard doors have actually already arrived. They're actually sitting in my hallway. It's a bit of an odd thing, but basically the way that it seems MDC do things is they actually send the replacement parts to, well, certainly for the cupboard doors, they've sent them direct to the end user, being me. Not for us to sort anything out. We don't have to fit them. I don't have to sit here drilling holes and fitting everything out. The main reason is, I think, is that because a lot of people are travelling, they send them to the nearest location that the person with the van is going to be, and therefore MDC can organise a local shop fitter in that area to sort them out. So we've had the parts delivered to us. Mark has already contacted me since to let me know that they've got cabinet makers on standby. They're actually going to pick the van up for us. They're going to take the van away and get the work done and bring it back to us. So it's literally a no fuss turnaround for us. It's a minor inconvenience that our drawers have got the laminate has not stuck. As I said, MDC are aware of it, but they're sorting it. So just thought I'll bring that out, just because I know that there are a lot of people that think that these Chinese built vans may not be as reliable or may have faults, etc. Look, I've seen numbers of caravans that have faults. I don't think we've got any major concerns on this one. If this is the worst thing that goes wrong, in all seriousness, that's it makes for a very, very good solid caravan. So, and and the fact that it's been sorted so quickly. We noticed this a week ago, and we've already got the replacement doors ready to go for when the van gets picked up. Now, they even tried to get them here in time so that we would actually have them fixed before we went away. Obviously, we didn't go away, but they just couldn't make that happen, unfortunately. Just with the timing, I think the doors actually arrived here on the Thursday. It's now Sunday, so we would have been going away late on the Thursday night. Lockdown happened. That's the end of that. So look, they've looked after us really well. They're trying to get everything sorted for us very quickly. So look, just thought I'd share that it's it just speaks for the brand, and the they stand by their product and they fix things when things go wrong. Other than that, let's call it a shot there, and we'll go and check on that pork in a little bit. I'll catch up with you then. Okay, so we've been cooking this for about an hour now. I'm going to take it out of the oven. We'll have a look. Alright, now, don't expect too much to have changed. It's a very, very low temperature. As I said earlier, it's only 140 degrees, fan forced. So I'm not expecting this to have changed an awful lot. What I do expect to see is that the meat is probably curled up a little bit. As you apply heat to meat, the muscles contract and it curls up a little bit on itself, but we'll see what this looks like. Yeah, that's definitely curling up. So that is actually looking really, really good. As I said, it's only been for an hour. This is still going to be really quite firm. And the main thing I wanted to do actually was give this a bit of a basting. Just get some of this sauce and just top it back up. Basting the meat just basically means that it's just you're going to get more of that moisture back into the meat. Even though we are cooking it with foil on and it's an enclosed roasting environment, just adding that a little bit extra sauce over just helps keep that moisture trapped in the meat, which when we pull this apart in a couple more hours, it's going to look fantastic. So now that we've basted that, let's throw that in the sink, and we'll recover the meat up for the moment. Try and wrap that up without burning my hands. I've been cooking for a long time, so I've kind of got slightly asbestos fingers. I might have asbestos fingers, but I'm not going to stick this in the oven with my bare hands. All right, that's going to sit in that oven for another hour. We'll come back and have another look, and the next one I think I'm actually going to turn it over rather than basting. So it's going to be a bit of a once an hour baste, and then every second hour turn the meat over. All right, we'll come back in an hour.
5 hours later.
All right, let's bring it out of the oven. I think we're pretty much done. Okay, that is looking fantastic. So we can just get this up for the camera to have a look at. It is looking great. Next bit, just grab a couple of forks and just start shredding. I can't really show you this on camera, but what you're looking for is pretty much everything just starts getting fine strands like that. It doesn't take a lot to start stripping. The meat should just literally start falling apart, breaking apart. So once we've stripped all this, which hopefully won't take too long, I'll then get all of the ingredients out, and we're going to start making some coleslaw. So just in case I'm an idiot and haven't told everybody what's actually in this recipe, so this is a 2 kilo leg of pork that I've cut the skin off. I've used, given it's 2 kilos, I've used 2 sachets of the McCormick's Texan barbecue rub. That is wrapped overnight. So basically throw the pork with the skin off in a bowl, pour 1 sachet on one side, flip the pork over, pour the other sachet in, and then just basically just toss it around the bowl, stir it around, make sure that it gets fully covered in those in the rub. And then wrap tightly wrap the pork in plastic and glad wrap, just so that it's got nice, it's an airtight fix, and leave that in the fridge for 24 hours. As I said earlier, you can do it for less, you can do it for just 1 or 2 hours, but it won't taste anywhere near as good. You won't see, like when I pulled that out, how it was nice and moist. All that dry rub will stay dry rather than moist. This is just turning out great. Stripping very, very easily. And I don't know if anybody can hear that, but Phoenix has just gone absolutely berserk out the backyard. This is her thing lately. She's found her voice and wants to bark at everything. So if you're one of my neighbours, I do apologise. We're trying to sort it out. Still some bigger lumps in here, but it's for the most part, it's actually very broken up. I'm just going to get a spoon in a second, just stir everything through, just make sure we get the last of that juice off the sides of the pot. Now, this is looking absolutely delicious, even if I do say so myself. But yeah, basically what you're looking for is that lovely stringy pieces of pork. Some of the larger chunks of it, but that is just going to be fantastically tasty. All right, put them down for a second. I'll grab my spoon back. Just get all the sticky bits of congealed sauce off the side, because that's just going to add extra flavour. Now, you can do at this point, if you think it's going to be a little bit dry and you haven't got enough moisture to stir through the pork, you can add just a little bit of water, just to loosen things up a little bit, just before it goes back in the oven. Which I think is exactly what I'm going to do. It's just a little bit too dry for my liking. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of water in. Not too much. Just stir that around. And that just helps get all that beautiful flavour through the pork. Now we're going to have pork for days. This is an absolute... 2 kilos of pork is going to make tacos for 8 or 10 people, really. Unless you're like me, in which case it's probably 3 people. But for a camp meal, if you've got a lot of people, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. And one of the best things about this, it is easy. Well, it takes a while. It's easy, but one of the number one things for getting people to go camping, or if you've got friends or family that just aren't big on the whole camping thing, a lot of the time, people that I've spoken to that don't want to go camping is because they get tired of eating sausages and oh, that's good. Yeah, sausages in bread, basically the same stuff you get at Bunnings. If you want people to go camping with you regularly, cook them good food. It'll get them coming back every time. And this, as I said before, will taste so much better when it's out of a campfire. It's going to have that smoke through it. It's going to be... This is already absolutely, absolutely delicious, but that little bit of smoke and that organic home cooked or outdoor cooked feel is just going to add that extra bit to it, and it'll get people coming back. So, yeah, if you've got friends and family that you want to take camping and they're a bit hesitant, get them out there, cook them this. You only have to check it every little once in a while, and pull it apart with some forks, and it's going to you're going to win a lot of. You're going to make a lot of friends. We'll stick this back in the oven uncovered, just to let that cook a little bit further. I'm actually going to turn the oven down even further now. So I'm sitting down at about 110. So that's just to keep it warm, but not overcooking it. All right. So next on our list, we need to make some coleslaw to get ready to make some tacos. Okay, coleslaw really can't be any simpler. You can chop up some cabbage and some carrots and stuff yourself. Woolies fine cut slaw, definitely the better option. You've got a number of different slaw options at the supermarkets, but I always go the fine cut. It's less chunky. I'm just going to throw that in there. There are some like bits like that. If you see any in there, chuck them out there. There's nothing wrong with them, but they just don't. They're just not a good look for not a good look for a good coleslaw. Given we've got a bit of a Mexican barbecue-y type theme going on, I'm actually going to make my coleslaw with chipotle aioli. I'll thin this down with a little bit of apple cider vinegar. So I'll just grab another pot. Pretty much I've got a fair bit of slaw there, so decent amount of chipotle aioli. A little bit of apple cider vinegar, doesn't need to be too much, just a little bit of a splash. That's just to thin it down a little bit and add some of that, a little bit of tartness to it. And then just a little bit of water, just to thin it down a little bit more. I don't want to add any more vinegar. It's just a little bit too thick being an aioli. Give it a good whisk in, and that's, yeah, nice and loose. Pour that straight in. And again, all this stuff is so easy to take camping with you. You don't need to take whole cabbages and everything else, just bag coleslaw. Pre-make your sauce if you want, put it in a squeezy bottle. Don't need to. It doesn't need to be a big. Doesn't need to be a big task. It's quick and easy. Just get a nice, smooth aioli through the veg. Give us a nice creamy coleslaw. Now, you don't have to have this as tacos. That's just what we're doing tonight. A couple of burger buns. Make yourself some pulled pork burgers with a bit of cheese on them. It'd be absolutely fantastic. We are doing tacos tonight though. So with that, guacamole. I love it. Normally I'd make it myself, but again, this is supposed to be for a camping trip, so a couple of avocados bouncing around in the car, not always the best look. So what I have found, again, this is a Woolies, a Birria guacamole. Look, it's not as good as the homemade stuff, but this is 88% avocado, whereas a lot of avocado dips are 40, 30. I think the lowest one I saw was like 70% cream cheese and 10% avocado. This is 88% avocado. It's got a little bit of jalapeno in there, some tomatoes, onions, a little bit of lime juice. It's even got devil's lettuce in there. A little bit of 0.2% of coriander, which as somebody who can't stand coriander, it's okay. You don't really taste it, it's just a little bit of a hint. It doesn't ruin it for me, so if you're not a big fan of coriander, it shouldn't ruin it for you. Coriander to me tastes like soap. So this is probably worth taking along. Give it a try. It's not particularly expensive. I think $4, $3 or $4 for a tub. So quite tasty. Does the job. As for cheeses, again, grate your own, or bring along some Woolies Mexican cheese with a little bit of chipotle in the cheese. Also very, very tasty. But that's pretty much it for everything we need, other than our tacos, or our taco shells. We're going to make soft tacos, which will just be a case of throwing everything on a plate, and Carla and I are just going to serve them up as we go. The leftover pork, we're going to have rolls, sandwiches, etc. during the week. It's another great thing with it if you're at home. Gives you lunch for days. But yeah, just wish we were doing this on out in a campsite somewhere. Would be a much more enjoyable experience. From that's the end of this. We'll get some shots in of the finished product. But until next time, thanks for watching. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. You didn't think I was going to make it and not eat it, did you? This just looks fantastic. Just needs the charcoal smoke. That is fantastic. See you in the next one.